So I read funny books again, or rather, I'd been hearing a lot about this particular funny book that I just decided to read it on a whim. DC Universe Rebirth. This is apparently their return to the old DC Universe. And actually, it's a pretty good comic for the most part. It's Wally West is apparently stuck in the Speed Force or something, just whatever the fuck Flashes do. And they're talking about an old world, like this is the old Wally West from before New 52 and stuff. And he's just talking about all the time that was lost. And he's trying to reach, Linda Park and Barry Allen. And apparently there was some other being intervening during Flashpoint. And it turns out that was a fucking Watchmen character. Yeah, and there's an epilogue, and it's Mars, and it's very clearly Dr. Manhattan talking to Ozymandias. And oh fucking God. It really is so like Jeff Johns to just fucking do this shit. Because Jeff Johns, he really likes to weave together, little comic trivia to create this sort of grand interwoven narrative. In fact, he did this once with another Alan Moore work. In the 80s, Alan Moore wrote this, little Green Lantern special, and there was apparently characters talking about a prophecy foretelling a Blackest Night. So what does Jeff Johns do? He creates an event called Blackest Night, and he incorporates his little retcon about the emotional spectrum, which he used to write, Hal Jordan out of the whole Spectre and Parallax thing, to say, oh wait, Hal didn't really turn evil, he was possessed by an evil space bug. And so now, I guess what Jeff Johns is going for is the life that Dr. Manhattan decided he was going to create at the end of Watchmen. Yeah, that's the DC universe. And the thing about Jeff Johns is, he was once just a comic book fan sending in his suggestions to DC editorial. I had read that he once sent a letter to the editor of the Superboy comic, and he had said, wouldn't it be cool if it turns out Superboy was really a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor's DNA? And it actually showed up in the letter section. And then when Jeff Johns, a few years later, became the writer for Superboy, what was the first thing he did? It turns out that Superboy was a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor's DNA. And so I guess that if there's a moral to this story, it's don't lose hope, armchair writers, because someday you too might become head of DC Creative. It's just this thing with the Watchmen is that it reflects to me a lack of restraint. Because I'm not trying to say that Watchmen should never be touched, never be its holy ground, because Alan Moore made his whole career out of working with other people's stuff. Lost Girls is pornography of Peter Pan and stuff. So, this is not about defending the fair maiden Alan Moore's honor. This is just about the lack of restraint that should be confined to fan fiction, but now is part of the genuine article. Because Watchmen is good because it's separate from anything else. It's not woven into any other universe. There's not some extensive continuity. It's just its own self-contained tale. And it's a commentary on the superhero genre and power and sexuality and masculinity and just all this stuff. And the fact that now it's just going to be another part of the DC universe, another part of Jeff Johns' little web of stories, it just feels weak. And Jeff Johns is a good writer, He's able to turn chicken shit into chicken salad. That's pretty much actually his forte, really, is taking bad, fucked up ideas and making them work. He did the whole... he took the whole rushed Hal Jordan heel turn, and he actually made a really good story out of it. Really brought him back as Hal Jordan in a really convincing fashion. But this, even if the story is good, it's still just going to be so stupid, like to see regular DC characters talking to Dr. Manhattan. And it just feels like something that should just be reserved for fan fiction and fan art, because that's just a giant fucking playground to just do whatever. You know, there's stuff in My Little Pony fan fiction that I love that I would not want to see on the actual fucking cartoon, because I know it would be stupid. And this is just one of those things where, yeah, that's all I got. It's just really dumb and weak.